Hey, what's up, everybody? Sorry for being a little late. Just trying to actually get the space open from 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 like the Gary Club account. I'll figure it out. Gary gave me like mod permission from that account, and I'm trying to figure out how to like open the spaces up from it. So I had a little trouble doing that, but I'll get there. Bear with me. Morning, TC. How are you?
Hi, yeah, I'm great, thank you. Trying to get back to some sort of normality this week. I've had a bit of a hectic couple of weeks. Um, so yeah, I'm good. I'm good. So what you're trying to do, I assume, is get the Gary account as a co-host in the space. So you need to join the space with that account and then bring yourself up. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
no, I was trying to start the space with it actually. But
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, damn. Do you need to restart?
No, it's all right. I'll just do it tomorrow. It's no need. It's all good. We're here now. I'm just a little slow figuring out the tech.
I guess, yeah, I guess log in and you need two separate devices. So do that one on your computer and be you on your mobile or vice versa.
Well, that's sort of what I was planning on doing.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna like sign in as like, open the space as Gary Club from my computer and then just, come in as a co-host, but um yeah, I'll figure it out. As Gary gets in here, he can maybe help me out with it too. Walk me
Yeah,
through
you'll
what to do.
figure it out. Like, it's still a small room. You don't have to give up now.
Well, and even we'll just get it going for tomorrow too. Even
Okay.
I want to do that just because it'll probably get a little bit more reach from that account. Reich, if you're able to, come on up, man. I could use a co-host if you're able to. I know Dunk is working today. He's probably I don't even know if he's going to even be in here today. So he's still trading time for money, selling his soul to Hollywood. So
Yes, indeedy.
yes, it is, and that's a rough road. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. No reason why I understand why Dunk is the way he is. Hollywood chews people up. One of my favorite sayings is we pave the streets with the bodies of people who get chewed up in Hollywood.
Wow,
So
that's grim.
it's a little grim, but it's funny.
So you're just getting set up. You want to get your bits and bobs up the top. I know Dunk usually does that for you.
Oh yeah. What's up, Reich? Are you there?
What's up? What's up? I'll be here.
Twitter is, sorry, I should say X. It's been really weird. I just still see a bunch of listeners. Oh no, now it says co-host. Boyso, are you a listener or a speaker?
I'm here, yep.
Okay, so it says listener. It's been really,
It's been rugging a lot today. Gary was in
yeah,
another room earlier, and every 3 or 4 seconds, the space would completely rug and drop me out, and then I'd jump back in and drop me out. And I did it like 10 times, and I got sick of it. Finally, I was like, I don't know if this is my phone or my computer, so I jumped onto my computer and joined the space from there, and it was fine from that point out. So it looks like maybe the mobile app versus like desktop is having issues. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, it's been an absolute pain in the butt.
there was an update this morning I noticed, so I wonder if
Yeah,
that's fudged it a little bit.
I did the update.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they may push out another one in the next 24 hours or something. Sort it out, X.
Yeah, no, they've really got to do something. They've really got to get something going with this because it's ridiculous how buggy Spaces is. I mean, it's like every time, and there's certain people I notice like JJ, Dunk. Well, they're the two that I notice the most. Like they
Yeah,
they always
yeah.
get rugged. Like every day they get rugged in here a million times. So
It's crazy because this tech's been around for years. I mean,
it's not new,
we were on Clubhouse, like
right?
1,500 people, rooms regularly. Before Spaces was a thing, obviously, but it's got to be solvable.
Yeah, I know.
You were talking about Dunk having to trade time for money, and I've been listening to. Yesterday, I had a face-to-face meeting with Dan Martell. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's got a Wall Street Journal best-selling book. He's like #2 on the Wall Street Journal. He got beat by James Clear's Atomic Habits as #1, but he came
Oh
really
yeah,
close to
I know that.
#2. He owns software.com. He owns SaaSacademy.com. I mean, the guy's just an absolute freaking rock star. Incredible story and background and overcoming addiction and all these incredible things in his life. But got to have a face-to-face meeting with him yesterday about Brand Butler. And he's like, have you read my book yet? I was like, no, I haven't read your book. And it's called Buy Back Your Time. And I'm like, that's just like another way of saying stop trading time for money. And I started listening to it on my drive to come surprise my wife at this farmer's market she's working at. And it's already off to an amazing start. And I'm like, I think everybody here should be reading that book. I'm going to make it a part of my skill stacker community too, is just buying back your time. That's what skill stacking is about. Is I've been able to start at $10 an hour as a graphic designer and work my way up to over $1,000 an hour, which just gives me leverage to buy back my time where I want and hire other people that I can go get to work for me for 10, 20, $30 an hour.
Let me ask you this, Boycel. Did you sell him or did he sell you?
I think both,
Oh,
because he's
okay.
interested in investing into Brand Butler. He really likes what we've done,
Oh,
and
he is. Okay, good.
yeah, he's
Good.
really interested. So yeah, I think both. And he was funny. He gave a girl. There was a girl that he had on the call. They wanted access to his book because he got his book published with Penguin Random House. And he's like, sorry, Adrian, I can't give you that. And then when I told him that I had a list of all the AI events that my PR team had put together, he's like, I'll give you that list if you give me that those AI events. I'm like, okay, cool, deal. So I ended up getting that book launch book deal PDF from him, or it was like a Google document from him, all just for sharing my list of AI events and stuff.
Look at that. I love it. I love it.
That's awesome.
Have you been in here since I've been messing around with an AI agent?
Yeah, you did that a couple days ago when you and I were talking on the phone.
Oh, that's
You were
right.
talking about
Okay.
the whiskey
Yeah,
agent.
yeah. Yeah. Um, God dang, man. It's
Best use case for AI I've ever heard, you know?
it's been consuming me. It's been consuming me. Really has. It's all I've been doing is trying to get it smarter and now like trying to get it deployed online. Um, just totally consuming my like all my waking hours. I've only got like 2 more days to be done
Wow,
with it.
that's really cool. I can't wait to see it.
Well, I hope I win. If I don't win, then I don't know, man, break my computer, set my house on fire. I don't know. It could get pretty dark if I
The
don't
show
win.
goes on. You'll
Yeah,
find a
I'll
use.
still be here. I'll still be
Make
here, but
make a whiskey wheel, like Gary does the wheel, and like I've been doing the wheel. Spin the wheel and land on a random whiskey.
yeah, right. I just have to just make something up. If it isn't working the way I want to, by then I'll just have like not even have it be like a real agent. Just the logic behind it just going to be a wheel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Well, Dunk was here for a second. I think he may have gotten rugged. He was here for like 3 seconds, and
I'm here.
oh, you're
I'm
He's
here.
I'm
still
Oh, there
here.
you are. There you
I'm
are.
here, but I'm on set, so I barely could talk today.
Sweet,
Sorry,
sweet.
I just step out. I have to step back in a minute. My job today is to watch a monitor and make sure nothing goes wrong. And then if it does, I do something. If it doesn't, I do nothing.
Sounds like something AI could do.
Whoa.
Slow down, Joe. Slow down.
Yeah, I can't watch a monitor. You're crazy.
It's funny. Or is this your last day out there?
On this, no, it goes through Friday. This shoot.
Okay.
It was like it was like a random full week. Yeah, we're shooting the after show for a show called The Valley.
The Valley.
You probably have never seen it.
No. Sounds
It's
like something I wouldn't watch.
the number 4 show on Peacock right now.
Oh, wow.
He
So
just
yeah.
said peacock. Hey, what the problem is with your whiskey AI agent is you don't have people helping you testing the whiskey.
Yeah, right.
Well,
That's the actual issue. Exactly.
I need to
People
make
need
sure
to
that
drink whiskey to make
you
the
need to
code
get the
work.
use case, man.
I
I'll
mean,
come
Right.
and help trial and error with you. Figure it out.
That sounds like that's the issue. I think you guys you've identified the problem. Thank you.
sometimes the AI needs human input to make it better.
Well, really, the problem I'm having right now is the thing's working. So, um, so like when I put in my name, or even if one of you guys went and like opened up like started, if you like downloaded the app and started a profile and like put your info in there, it would work, giving you the recommendations and everything. The problem I'm having right now is getting it um, like deployed live online. That's Sorry, I just got a call. Yeah, that's the issue I'm having right now is getting it out there. So I'll get there. It's just this is all new to me. All this is new and it's super, super frustrating. I really don't have the patience for this type of a thing. As Dunk well knows, I lose my shit typing in a password. So like when I get an error message, it's not good. And the thing is, going through this, I just I can't help but think about Gary, because like what I'm doing is, this is kindergarten compared to what he's doing. Building a AI agent that can go and trade for you. This thing, basically, you type your username in, and it looks at your profile, and it will, give you 5 suggestions on like whiskeys based on your user profile. So, I mean, it's just like not even close to what he's doing. And I'm just like, God dang, the amount of patience you must have. I'm not cut out for this kind of work. Not at all. It's very difficult. It's very hard. But once you finally get a little bit of success, it does feel great. I will say that. Feels like massive achievement. And it's slowly getting there. So hang in there, Danny. You'll have your whiskey app here soon. You'll be able to try
Are
it
you going
out.
to send a bottle of Pappy out to everybody that is in beta testing for you?
Dude, I need a bottle of Pappy myself. I Have you ever had that,
What
by the way?
what do you suggest
I
to
have
some?
had a glass of it, yes.
Oh man, good for you. TC, I'm using a site called I've already for
No. My question was going to be, what whiskey would you suggest to someone who hates whiskey? Because
oh
I do hate it, but
oh
I
oh
also think I probably just haven't tried the right one. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. Well, if you don't like whiskey, you're probably not going to like any of them.
No, So my wife hates whiskey. She hates brown liquor. She doesn't like any of it. So I got a bottle of Crown Royal the other day. It was age 12 years,
Okay.
and she drank almost the whole freaking bottle.
Well,
She was like, I don't like whiskey, but this is good.
that is like one of those. So some of those like special crowns or special jack, and they're expensive too. Believe those are like I've been like looking at this database that I've had to put in for this project I'm doing, and man, like some of those aged crowns are actually really expensive bottles, which I didn't even know they like made them like that. But there's Crown Royal bottles that cost $500. So yeah, maybe one of those. Maybe one of those. where they're
So
aged and it's got
the
a
one that
smoother
I'm talking
taste.
about, the one that I'm talking about is only $55.
Okay.
It's a 12-year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. So maybe one of those TC, try something that's aged, like even like I don't know, even for me, because I don't like whiskey. I never liked whiskey. Even when I would have like Macallan, like what's the good, like Macallan 60 or something, like I didn't even like that. I never liked it.
Oh
Just
man, maybe it's the Irish in me. I love whiskey.
yeah, see,
Love it.
never for me. It would just always make my stomach upset, and I was always much more of a vodka drinker or
A
clear
cranberry
liquors.
and vodka man, huh?
Um, Not so much the
I'm just kidding.
cranberry, but the
I'm just
vodka.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah, the vodka. Um,
Have you had any Pappy Van Winkle?
no, that's what I
I
was just
have.
saying. I would love to have just to have some, because I know.
Uh huh.
Is it even good, or is it just?
It's
Yes.
good.
Oh, okay.
It's. I mean, there's a what is it called? Johnny Walker Black Label or whatever that is, Blue Label. I can remember
Yeah,
it's been 15
the
years since
blue
I had it.
label is a more expensive one. It's good too.
It's good, but I think that's better than the Pappy Van Winkle, to be honest. And I have some old like Kentucky bourbon that a friend brought me when he was out in that part of the country, and man, that stuff is really good too. I'm more of a bourbon guy than just like a straight
Well,
standard whiskey like a
Danny.
Jameson whiskey.
I know it's not even like. Um, I know it's not even like that. It was actually good whiskey. It was just that it was rare, I think, is what made it so expensive. That Pappy
That
stuff
was
so
one of the big.
expensive.
It was
It's true.
the scandal behind what had happened that made
Right.
it very expensive.
Yeah, exactly. In any case, here's the
My favorite whiskey is Woodford Reserve. That's my number one.
yeah.
The aged Woodford Reserve is so good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, like I said, I don't know. Never been my thing. Never been my
All
thing.
right, so I mean, stupid people. I ask stupid questions. If you don't like whiskey, why are you making a whiskey AI agent?
Oh,
Straight up.
it's for a
Shouldn't you
bounty.
make a vodka AI agent?
No, it's for a bounty. It's for a bounty.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
and it's also just so I could kind of learn. I'm just trying to kind of teach myself, since I'm connected to an AI agent in here, I'm trying to learn what goes into that. And like I said, it's made me like vastly like appreciate what Gary and the team are doing on a whole new level, on just an entirely new level. And again, I don't have a background in this stuff, so every step of the way has been a massive learning curve for me the last week. Um, so there's also just that. But
I
but
mean,
then
you could go with like a Kettle One or a Belvedere with a twist.
Belvedere with a twist. That's funny. That is good. Very funny, my friend. Well, I am from San Francisco, so you you never know. You could be spot on there. You could be spot on.
On
Any
the Castro district, is that where you're at?
dude, I one time I was going through the Castro with my wife, and she had to go to the bathroom, and I was like, "Well, let's just go in here," and they wouldn't even let her in the door, bro. They wouldn't even. They wouldn't even let
Whoa.
her in the door. It was unbelievable, unbelievable. I was just trying to like walk her through, just it's one of those things, you got to see it. Like, come on, you got to come here. You got to see this. And yeah, wouldn't even let her in the door. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
My favorite area in the city is Little Italy. They have some coffee
Oh,
shops and
yeah.
stuff in there,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
so beautiful there.
That's
I love it.
where I took her. So right after I proposed to her, that's where I took her. Was to North Beach. Right up to Little Italy, little Italian restaurant there. So
So good.
small little restaurant. That's where we had our like first meal after we got engaged. It's a great spot in the city.
Yeah, it really is. And Union Square is pretty cool. They got the romantic big old heart out there, and then the ice skating in the wintertime, and cool stuff like that. There's this place out there. It used to be called Little Sheep. Mongolian hot pot, but now they changed the name to it of something else. But I don't know if you've ever had hot pot, but man, that was the best hot pot I had ever had in my life. It's like so healing when you drink the broth and all the stuff they use, like bone broth and stuff in there.
So
Man, that is like a
that used to be like a little family tradition. I would take the girls there every year to go watch the Christmas tree get lit
oh,
until the
that's awesome.
advent of BLM, and me and the girls got caught in a little BLM riot. And I was like, well, there goes that
That's
family
that.
tradition. Thank you,
Yeah,
Democrats. I'll not going to do that anymore. Fortunately, the riot police were there to keep us safe. But yeah, no, didn't not doing that one anymore. Yeah, that was quite the Christmas. Quite the Christmas. Very nice.
that's a bummer.
Yeah, yeah, dude. San Francisco used to. I always said it used to
Thanks,
be
Gavin Newsom.
the best city in America, and yeah, just it's not what it used to be.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, not what it used to be. Yeah, you're from up there. Um, yeah, just like nothing like it. I mean, I've been all around the world. There's no city like San Francisco, and yeah, now it's just destroyed.
Barcelona is pretty much the only thing that's still close to it. Has a similar weather, beautiful people. I mean, beautiful people, beautiful sites, and the architecture and the history and the way the city's laid out. And they got Tibidabo at the back with the big cathedral and the Jesus statue facing towards the ocean, and it's it's amazing. I don't know if you've ever been to Barcelona, but it's the closest thing I've ever seen to San
Yeah,
Francisco
yeah, I
without
love
all the
Spain.
BS.
Yeah, I love Spain. Yeah,
Yeah.
Valencia is probably my favorite, but yeah, I like Barcelona a lot too. Anyway, Gary, what's up? Morning or good afternoon for you.
What's up, Jim? How are you?
Yeah, good man, good. I'm learning how to code.
That's fun.
I know, man. It's been interesting. It's very hard for me, but getting there. Getting
It's
there.
fun though. It's
It
fun.
is. It
And
is.
it's
It's
and with
rewarding.
AI, it's easier now than it's ever been,
Chat
and
G
it'll just get easier and easier.
Chat GPT is the only reason why I'm even able to attempt it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it works well. And there's some things like Replit and Lovable and things like that out there that make it a lot easier too.
Like in GitHub they have that Copilot thing too that also
Oh,
is
oh,
really helping me.
yep, exactly right.
Yeah. So,
Did you see
getting
the
there.
raffle that I launched?
I did. Yeah. I actually just noticed that. So,
It's such a
um,
cool little platform. It's self-service, but it's a nice platform. The Giraffe came out of my wallet immediately. It's sitting there. I was able to configure every piece of the raffle, the whole thing. It was nice. I think this went live yesterday. They said they had 862 users yesterday, kind of day one. So this is, I guess, day two. And we've already sold 53% of the raffle tickets.
yeah, I was looking, there's only 462 left.
Yeah, and so I put it to where you could buy up to 100, and there was only 1,000 available. It's risky because if we don't sell 1,000, then I have to give it away no matter what. But it's not as risky because this was one of those Giraffe that I bought back at 0.72 when I was doing that video in school on how to flip Giraffe and make money.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
So I've already sold 5.3 soul worth of tickets. So I've already 5x or 6x my investment anyway.
Which that was the intent, was to go for 5, right? So you actually beat the
My
intent.
intent was originally to double.
Oh, yeah. So then
I said I want to. I said I
you
want
more
to
than double.
2x.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Originally, I said I want to double this. I want to show you how to double your money, and just kind of going through the rounds of like, can we double? Can we double? Can we double? And then when we voted to go Stacker Agent at 5 soul, I didn't feel comfortable doubling, so I said, well, I'll just 5x. And then the more I got into building Stacker Agent and figured out a path to monetize Giraffe without selling them, aka Gary Tree, the more I said, well, I don't need to sell them anymore. I don't want to. And I don't want to sell this one, but I also need to test technology and see how it works because it's marketing. Getting a raffle out there. We've had 64 different people buy a ticket. And
Okay.
obviously, some of those are probably in our community, but some of those are also in their communities. and not part of our community. A lot of because this was launched by the Sir Peters guy,
Right, right.
so a lot of them are part of that community, and they're just using the raffle platform because maybe there'll be an airdrop or something in the future. You never know. They've got a leaderboard, they've got a referral system, so they're just there using it, farming it, and maybe getting a chance to win a cool raffle. And it's, I mean, you spend $1.50 and you have a chance to win something worth 900 and some bucks.
Something real, exactly.
And you only have to buy one, which I think is really cool. To me, if you're out there and you own a giraffe, it makes a lot of sense to at least buy a ticket to have a chance to win. And then if you want to buy more, you can. You can buy up to 10% of them. But then if you don't own a giraffe, yeah, go for it.
Sorry, have you seen all the raffles that are on there? It's like 1.6 soul, half a soul. It's tons of stuff on there.
Yeah, well, it's money making.
Yeah.
So if you can get the math to work, so if you do the math on this, it's going to be, if all the tickets sell, it's going to be a 10 soul sell. So I'm not selling this at the floor at 7.2. I'm selling this for 10 Solana. If all the tickets sell.
Right, right.
So I could then go, if I wanted to, go back and buy the floor and put 2 point something Solana in my pocket if I wanted.
And you buy the floor and then keep a few bucks, exactly.
Yeah, and look, you should make money. There's nothing wrong with making money
No,
here.
that's what we're here for. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm taking the risk because if we don't sell all 1,000 tickets, then I don't get 10 Solana. I only get a smaller portion of that. So like right now, I've only got like 5.3 Solana coming back in. Luckily, I bought it way cheaper, so I'm already in the positive. But that's just it's playing a different game, getting exposure to a different audience, and taking an asset, taking a risk on it, but taking an asset and being able to turn it into a profit. Because I don't care what the giraffe looks like personally. I just want quantity of giraffe.
Yeah, exactly.
But I
Exactly.
like testing
Well,
out new tools, and they retweeted it and had it shared up in their space earlier today on their jumbotron at the top. So it was nice. Got some
so
exposure for giraffe.
the whole reason I'm like doing this bounty is, well, it's kind of twofold. One, if I win, I'll be able to buy a few giraffe with it. So, that's a good motivator.
Yep.
And there's not a lot of people in it, so chances are good, and especially with Chat GPT, I'm definitely putting something pretty nice together. So it's going to be a serious entry for sure.
Yeah,
And
look at, if you're building an AI agent, look at chat base as well. If
chat
it's like,
base.
if it's chat focused.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you want to be able to like have conversations just back and forth with the AI agent, look at chat base. It's a paid service,
Okay.
but
No problem. Yeah.
it's a really easy way to build a chat agent that is based on your own knowledge base.
Got
So
it.
you build a
Okay.
knowledge base of whiskey. I think I heard you saying.
Yep.
You
Yep.
build a knowledge base of whiskey. You load in all of your knowledge about whiskey, and then it just references your knowledge.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
you're not getting, random stuff that says like, well, Tito's is great
Yeah,
whiskey. It's
correct.
clear whiskey.
Correct. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
AI
Yeah.
still tells you that Tito's is clear whiskey sometimes.
Right. Right.
And then at that point in time, you've invalidated all the trust that you've built. Where if you use something
Exactly.
like chat base and you build a knowledge base of whiskey using AI, you vet it, you read it, you know it, and then you load that into chat base, and it only uses your knowledge base, so it's all vetted knowledge information.
So basically what I did is I built a database of like 1,000 bottles
Yep.
that I like trained the agent on. So it'd be like that.
Yep. Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
works
So I
out
already
really
have
well.
that.
Yeah, it works out really nice.
Okay. I'll check
And you
that
can
out.
you can
Good.
kind of
Good.
play with it and stuff like that without having to pay for it. But then, and it's not much money. I think it's like, I don't know, like they've got a free model and then they got like a $40 a month model or something like
That's
that.
the
So it's
thing.
not like,
Everything I've been using for like railway, like the thing that I'm using to like deploy online, it's like $20 a month. Like
yeah,
nothing's
most
really
of this
that.
stuff is, yeah, it's pretty cheap. You get into
Yeah, it's
issues
cheap.
when you get into quantity of users, and that's where stuff starts to really add up.
Right. Right.
Getting it deployed, and what they did is they made it really easy. Like something I'm even trying to figure out is when we take Stacker Agent public, can we say your first $1,000 worth of trades are free?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because then I can just get you to try it, and there's, other than the money you put in, there's no other expenses, right?
Right.
Can I say, let me let you set it up, and can I build a demo mode that lets you set it up, but it works non-funded, so it simulates your trades for you, shows you what you could
Gotcha.
get, and then says fund your account, and your first $1,000 in trades are on us.
So you paper trade,
Yep,
you get to
exactly right.
see, hey, this works, and then your first 1,000 will cover the fees for you.
Yep.
That, I mean, that'll be so sticky, man. People, oh man, that'll work so good.
Yeah, and then the
Yeah,
paper trading should hook them. We'll
of
build,
course. Yeah.
like, the website will be built to actually show the data, cumulative data across the board of everything that we're doing, and then individual wallet data of the stackers, and then the other wallets that are doxed. But just
Oh
letting
yeah.
people see, what's going on, and what our win rates are, and what the cumulative P&L is, and how much volume we're pushing through. So we'll share all these stats very publicly. We'll share our revenue publicly, what our fees are publicly. It's public anyway if you know how to go figure it out. So
Well,
why
I
not
mean, you
just
can already, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
just use it as marketing?
I
Like,
mean,
nobody does. To me, I would. Like, I want to use that. That's marketing knowledge to me, or marketing data.
well,
We're processing, $1
exactly.
billion in transactions a day. Like, well, damn, that's a lot of money.
Right.
Let me use that
Right.
agent. Let me figure that out with you.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
that stuff is, that's why they make, like, getting started, like launching your agents and stuff like that, really affordable, because if it takes off, then you will be stuck with them, and it's very expensive as you start to grow and scale. And you could, like, I expect Stacker Agent, like, if we were going to do $1 million a day in revenue, it would probably cost us 20 grand a day in server fees.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I mean,
Um,
look, it's an obvious expense you could handle, but that's still pretty. Yeah, that's
yeah,
pretty deep.
and then in order to push at the RPC levels we need to, you're looking at probably another 10 to 15 grand through with RPC fees. And then
Oh,
that doesn't
really?
count. Yeah, so the RPC is how we interact with the blockchain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sure. Well,
So, and we have a Helios package, but it's when we're pushing that many transactions at that speed, we've got to, it just adds up. It's a lot of credits and stuff like that.
so
And
it's more you're
then,
paying for the speed is what you're paying for.
well, we've got a top tier RPC feed with Helios, and then we'll end up running some of our own nodes. And, like,
Got it.
server,
Got it.
like, to run my own node, about
Yes.
$4,000 a month.
Right. Yes. Okay. That makes sense.
So, and as we scale, we would need multiple nodes and Helios as failsafe to fall back on. So we're running
Okay.
multiple nodes because we've got to, deploy our server to different locations around the globe, and latency matters, and all this stuff comes into play. So we could very realistically look at a tech stack that's costing us 6 figures a month to make 7 figures a month, or
Right.
7 figures a day. Sorry, 7 figures a day.
Right. Right. That I got you. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Even just what I'm seeing on, again, I have such a better understanding on all these things now, because even on my little railway thing where it's like, okay, where are we going to deploy? And it's like, you're picking regions, right? You're picking North America, or
Yeah,
I
and then
like
you've
see how
got,
you can do that. Yeah, I see how you can. Yeah,
yeah, and then,
right.
like, if you're, like, for me, if my node is running in, so let's say my node was running here in Austin, Texas, I would need to grab the data from that node in order to organize and categorize and deserialize and all that shit, that data here in Austin. And
Yes.
then from
Yeah.
there, we would relay to another server. But the distance of relay adds in latency issues. So then you want to run mirrors. And
You
then you
get a
start
half
mirroring.
second.
Yeah,
r-
and half seconds matter a
Yep.
lot
Exactly. Yep.
in some of these skills, some of these skills. And then, some of the skills, like the block zero skill, we may not be able to launch that to everyone.
Ju-
That, I
Is
don't know
it
if
just
that's
going to be too big, you think? Like you won't be able to, like the latency, the time is going to just fuck it up if it's too many people?
well, it's a block zero snipe.
Oh, right.
So
Right. So, okay.
we're trying to snipe something at inception of mint,
Yep. Got
and
it.
you can't snipe with 34,000 wallets.
No, of course not.
right?
Of course not.
That's
Yeah.
not a snipeable moment.
I
32
mean,
black
really,
wallets.
you can't even do that with like 1,000. You couldn't
Right,
even
you
really.
can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can do it with a small number of wallets. So some of these
50.
skills that we launch, right, would set into a 50 range, which is
Right.
exactly what our stacker agents are.
Right. Right.
And because it's just not there. There's not the depth of liquidity there. There's not enough opportunity to spread it across thousands of places.
Well, and then you could actually create a situation where we fuck ourselves too
Yeah,
if you go in too deep, So
yeah, and that's just not something we can do.
right.
We've got to build things that will work for everyone. Like we would have all cooked real big on if we had a leverage skill that was live over the last couple of days whenever Bitcoin
Oh
and
man.
Solana was pumping.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
And that's like mega deep liquidity
Well,
where
that's something everyone can go in.
exactly
Right. Yeah.
where sniping a pump fund shitter that's just launching that's got a 70% chance of going to zero and a 70% chance of making it, or a 30% chance of making it, reverse, 30% chance of going to zero and a 70% chance of making it, but you've got to push like 2 Solana worth of transaction fees in order to get your snipe to land. That's high degen play. Somebody like that needs to have one of those stacker agents, one of those 50 NFTs.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Because if not,
Well,
then we're there's just no way we can manage the bandwidth on that.
of course.
And people will lose their ass because they'll configure it wrong. And they won't push enough soul through their transaction fees to actually get it to land, or they'll put their slippage too tight and they'll just lose Solana in the transaction.
I was
They'll
gonna
get
say
pissed.
they'll run a tight slippage, and all that'll happen is they'll just get a loss every time.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And that's frustrating. It's
Yep.
not a good user experience.
Right. Right.
So there's just no way to do that. And that's just part of the journey. It's those fees will help pump the entire ecosystem, because a percentage of all those fees will go back to market buying Gary coins. They'll help pump the entire ecosystem, but there will be some skills that will have to be reserved for just certain segments of the community.
Yep. Yep. Totally makes sense. Totally
And it's
makes
the only
sense.
way that it can be done. It's either like nobody gets it or we give it to these 50. And if we give it to these 50, man, that's going to be better because more people are going to want that. And then if you get lucky enough to get one of those 50, it's going to draw a bunch of demand around those 50.
Yep. Yep. Well, and so there's already like those sniper bots that are, that live on Pump Fund or just any of the launch sites in general. I mean, they basically buy everything, right? I mean, anything that
Yeah,
gets created, they
we're not
buy.
going to, and we won't. So we have data that tells us the wallets that are the most profitable wallets buying on Pump Fund, which
That's
lets
what.
us
Okay.
identify the most profitable snipers. So that's one angle of it. We have
Okay.
another subset of wallets. We're watching every wallet that deploys on Pump Fund, and we're watching their win rate of reaching certain market caps. Because what we find is
I
the
see.
same wallet deploys multiple coins.
Yep. Yep.
So
Okay.
we'll find, okay, well, the win rate of this is X. They win 70% of the time, for example. So we know we have a 70% chance of winning with this deployer that just deployed because of historical performance. And then we're
Right.
able to underlie it with the other wallets that are pushing through in that very first block because we know they have a high history of winning. And we'll develop and we'll determine exactly which wallets are the best snipers.
I love this. Okay.
And then
Yeah.
from there, we'll also watch other characteristics like on X that say, like, how many times has a Twitter account been changed and stuff like that? Where does this typically run to? That will
Right.
let us then feed data to max extract. So it will max extract
Oh,
normally
nice. Yeah.
because
Okay.
max extract's normally looking for a market cap point, but we
Right.
don't have enough insight. This will be our insights to max extract, and that'll be like a level 2 of max extract that will evolve to. That
Yeah,
will
this gives
because
you like a V2. It gives you like a starting point. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love this.
because right
Okay.
now we can look at blind data and say, does the market cap reach this? And if it does, great, let's go buy and let's sell and
Right.
let's extract. But
Right.
if we now know, oh, we're analyzing this from inception from block zero, we know who the deployer was, we know who the wallets that sniped were, and we know that historically this deployer pushes coins to $4 million. That will let us go in earlier, and that will let us hang on longer through bigger dips because
Yep.
it's a riskier play, but the math and the data tells us that that's what's typically happening.
Yeah, but if we know that that wallet, like you said, 70% of the time gets to a 4 mil market cap, well, rather than me waiting for 500K, I'll buy in at 150
Exactly right,
and
because you have a
and
different
ride it
signal on it.
up.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You have
Yeah.
different data on that. And that's where these two skills start to work together.
God, I love that. Dude,
You,
that's awesome.
real quick, yo, Block Zero is such a fucking gangsta ass name for a skill,
It
bro. Like
is. It is.
that shit goes so hard.
Well, I mean, it's the coolest thing that I could think of that we could do is, and we can see it. So I can see when they're minting the coin. The block that they're minting, and I have access to the data. So before it's finalized, like the moment it hits the chain, we can see that it's happening. And then we have seconds before it's finalized. My goal is to get our transaction into block zero, that initiating block, which would get us the maximum amount of coins for the cheapest amount of dollars. And then every agent would have the ability, like at least a 50, would have the ability to run that skill. And then it's up to you to program like what your parameters look like, and then to program how much of transaction fees and slippage you're going to send through. Because I might be willing to send 2 Solana through in transaction fees
Right.
and tips, or maybe 10 Solana
Right.
in order to
Right.
get it to land, where JJ may say, look, I don't know enough about this. I'm only willing to put in a half Solana in transaction fees and lose it. Well, I might get the snipe and you might not, because I was a little ballsier and push more fees through. And that matters. It just
It
does.
totally matters. Yeah. Yeah.
The tips you're providing, like the Jito tips and stuff like that, all those things matter. The way you set up your slippage, I might be willing to go 30% slippage where you're
Yep.
only willing to go 10% slippage. Well, if it slips 10%, your transaction fails. I'm willing to go 30%. So if it slips 28%, even though I didn't get as much and it was at a higher price, my transaction still lands.
Which is kind of what you need to do in those conditions anyway, because
Exactly.
10% isn't, it's just not enough. I mean, in a fraction of a second, you're going 10% in any direction anyway. So yeah,
Exactly.
you have to be there. So yeah.
I have a question. So I get what oh, shove my hand down again. So I get that you need it to land ASAP, but when you say it won't land, why is that? Because isn't that surely still just a purchase?
Well,
It's
if the
just going to
price,
land later.
so if the price moves, so if the
Oh,
price,
so it's a fixed. It's the fixed price. Got it. Got it.
Well, yeah, that's
yes,
where the slippage comes in, TC. So if you're trying to buy 1,000 coins for 1 Solana and the price shoots up fast because other people are buying, and you're
Yeah.
only
So
willing
it's
to slip 10%, then the most it would, or the least it would give you is 900 coins for that 1 Solana.
right,
yeah. So it's fixed price rather than quantity.
Yeah, well, it's always that way on chain. So it's always looking at
Yeah.
the quoted price and then determining what it can do for you. So we can push orders through that say things like, go buy me 10 million tokens up to this price, and we can figure it out and we can set parameters around it and make it really savvy. But if you set that price and then everybody else buys before you in that split second, you don't send enough transaction fees, and this is where transaction fees come in. There's only so many transactions that can land in the block. And if you get pushed out of that block because other people are willing to pay more to get into that block, then you get the next block, which may mean that you hit slippage and your price moves and all those things.
right,
Yeah. Got
exactly.
it.
So have you ever tried TC, like you catch a runner, like you see something that's just running hard and you're like, "Oh my God, I want to get in on this right now." And you're like, I'm going to throw a soul in or 2 soul in, and you're trying to buy like right out of your Phantom wallet, for instance, and you press buy and it just like it didn't land, like transaction failed. You're like, what the heck happened there? A lot of times that's what's going on, is because you just have your slippages and stuff set at whatever it's set at inside the Phantom wallet, and when you try to buy it in there, the price moved too quick, and you just, your transaction couldn't land because the price was moving up too fast.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
that's the only time that it does fail, is when something is moving like that. Yeah.
Right.
right. Or you could get sandwiched,
Right.
Oh,
and that
Yeah.
sucks. So
Yeah. That's
what that means is you would get, there's bots that are mev bots, and they come in and they, in the same block, so it never fully settles, but they buy the tokens, grab them before you can
Yep.
get them, which causes your price to go up. And then the second you grab yours, they sell back, which immediately causes you to buy at a higher
right.
market cap than you would have bought because they
Yep.
sandwiched you. You're in the middle, and they bought and sold. So they bought right before you, they sold right after you. It all closed in the same block, but you got a lot less tokens for your money because you got sandwiched. That's what Jupe's new Ultra mode fixes. They haven't had a single MEV sandwich since they launched that.
Oh, wow.
And that's why they now charge like 0.1% fees for that. You don't get sandwiched a lot with Phantom because they charge a 0.85%
right.
fee. And they're building in, anti-MEV and sandwich bots and stuff like that to try and minimize and eliminate that stuff. But Jupe hasn't had a single sandwich attack for anyone using Ultra since they've launched the Ultra mode.
Very cool.
And they're taking a percentage of that fee, right? And they're pushing it through to make sure you get some premium protections through the validators and all those things.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. Cool. Cool.
And that's all the stuff that
Yep.
matters.
Totally.
It's, and I am conversational, but I am not
50%. Is
highly
it based on the
intellectual.
size of the transaction, one soul
So
versus 10
someone
soul,
who's
and all that?
not necessarily, it's the order of the block. So the block process is in order, and if you push into the front end of the block and the back end of the block, you can close out. Like there's all kinds of amazing things you can do on chain as you start to understand how to restructure the order of
Right.
blocks.
They do it based on how
And you
much they
do it
tip.
by paying on
Yeah.
money.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly right. Like there was one of these instances over on Ethereum, and that was a $200,000
Oh,
tip.
man. Oh, shit.
They made $25,000 profit. They tipped the miner $200,000
Okay.
because they needed the block to land. So they had to order the block correctly. It had to have this huge tip on it, so the miner would grab that block and solve that block. And then they made their 25,000, and they were happy as hell because they wouldn't have made any money if they couldn't have landed the block.
Right. So they were willing to spend that 200K so that they,
And
yeah.
they didn't have to spend it. They didn't have to
Well,
spend it
well,
because if
yeah,
nobody picked it up and landed the
sure.
block, they wouldn't
They
lose
wouldn't
any
even have
money.
lost it. Exactly. Right. Right. Sure.
They would have lost a little bit of transaction fees, but they wouldn't have lost the tip.
Right. Right.
Because the tip only is paid when you
Once you
close the
close,
block.
yeah.
Or when
Well, once you open
solve
it and then
yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so there's a wild world that happens on chain when you start building sniper stuff, and
But you need to have very
start
fast
trying
bots,
to,
and you like think, yeah, you're exactly. You got to really know what you're
yeah,
doing there.
you
Yeah.
do, and you've got to test thoroughly, and even if you've tested, you could get out
Yep.
sniped.
Someone can be on the other end
So
of
the
that.
group, yep, exactly. And then in order to really make it, like a pump fund sniper is one thing, and that's where we'll start. But in order to really make it, we have to sniff Solana for contracts, which is easy to do. But then we have to start to vet, do we think it's the real contract or do we not think it's the real contract? Because we can tell every time there's a new contract minted on Solana. And if somebody today went and minted a Visa contract that we thought was Visa and we could tie it back to Visa, we would have to build confidence and blindly snipe that the moment there was a liquidity pool established. And if it ended up being Visa, this happened for Trump, and this is how the snipers got in. They had some insider information, but they set
Yep.
it up. Right? Other people got in that did not have insider information because they sniffed it on chain, and they saw this chatter of a Trump coin. They saw a contract that they thought would be Trump because all the things lined up. They saw wallet interactions that mirrored something that could have been through Trump, and they blindly sniped, and they spent $2 million to snipe, and they fucking
Made a
made a lot
lot
of
of
money on it.
millions. Yeah.
But that was a $2 million snipe, taking a risk.
Right. Well, and it could have been wrong. So yeah.
And they could have lost all
Yeah.
$2 million of their dollars.
Right. Boy, that
So
would be something nice to really drill down and figure out.
And that's a custom snipe. There's not really an
Yeah.
AI agent that can do that. An AI agent can start to tell you,
Gather data.
here's a new contract and do the data and all that stuff. But an AI agent can't, because you have to build custom mechanics for where their liquidity pools are going.
Right. It's too much.
Because you're watching, they're not launching through like a pump launch pad. They minted their token. They're sitting on 1 billion of them or whatever, and they're just waiting. And then they're going to take a big chunk of those and start to send them out to, Coinbase or Binance, or they're going to establish a liquidity pool at Radium with those. And the moment the liquidity pool's established is the moment you have to, or the moment it's unlocked is the moment
That's when you have to
snipe at
move.
the inception of
Yep.
liquidity pool. So you've got to be ready for that, and then you can set up like one side of liquidity on the back side of that and grab a bunch of other shit. So there's a bunch of really cool skills we're going to work to play. Some of them though, they're going to be like super limited because of the complexity of it. I'm not going to build anything that I can't at least release to 50 people though. I think that's good enough. Like, it's not worth my
It's got to
time
be
to
scalable
build it
for
if I
the
can't get 50 people using it.
right. It's got to be scalable for the group, right? We don't want just one person, 2 people having some super custom ass sniper that works in, one case. That,
And then what it will do is it'll start to build data and early data set for us, and let these 50 stackers, be part of our data gathering crew.
right.
Because as they're starting to get in and out of coins, we're going to start to see, they know it's risky, but we're going to see, are these, is it pumping? What's our unrealized P&L look like right now? What are stacker agents doing? Which is going to feed data back to all of the other agents that have power to get in at a later point, using skills that are open to them.
Man, I love it.
So it's almost like when I went to Six Flags this weekend, they had the VIP line, and then they had the semi VIP line, and then they had the general line. The general line was for everyone. The semi VIP line meant that you could reserve a time and go back and ride. And the VIP line meant you could walk up and ride any ride you wanted and go straight to the front of the line. Right. So they had these 3 different lines. And for the most part, like for what we did, we only needed the one line because the kids didn't want to ride forever, and we spent a couple hours there and had a great time. But that's kind of here. We have our super VIPs, which are our 50 stacker agents. Then we have our VIPs, which are Giraffe, and then we have the general public, which is everybody else.
Right.
And we offset that with fees and sometimes skills. And then that data, though, feeds everything else. So what's up, Adrian?
Question for you. So I was listening on that raffle conversation this morning that you were in, and then I went in there and pretended to be Cleveland Brown and asked them why my collection of NFTs weren't showing up to do a raffle. But when I went to go do it, I saw that the only thing that was really available was the Giraffe seasons and my Giraffe tower, and then the MAGA giraffes were the only ones that were able to be put up for raffle out of all the ones in my wallet. And I was curious. I wouldn't put one of my personal giraffes on, but what are your thoughts on other people that are, have a larger quantity of giraffes, putting those up on a raffle for Gary Club? And do you look at that as like an exposure tool, as a way to make money? Like, what is your perspective on this whole raffle thing from a business standpoint?
Well, it's definitely profitable. You say you wouldn't put up one of yours, but why not? Let's say you have a rare giraffe. Maybe you have a zombie or a hoodie or a crown or something like that.
Yeah.
And you put a raffle up to let people buy it. You get to set the price. You just have to have confidence that it would sell.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it doesn't sell, you're going to lose it at a smaller price.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you have to give it away. There's nothing else. So it's a risk.
Yep.
But it could also be a high reward. Because if you knew, like, crowns are very popular in Giraffe.
And gas
the
masks.
only person that really has crowns, crowns are more popular.
For sure,
honestly.
for sure.
And the only person that really has the crowns is Chef.
Mm-hmm.
And a few people have a crown, but they only have like one.
Yeah.
Like, I only have one crown.
Mm-hmm.
So if Chef said, I'm gonna put a crown up for auction, maybe he paid 4 Solana for it a long time ago, and he puts it up on a raffle, and he sells it out at 2,000 tickets at 0.01 each. So I think he would definitely sell 400 tickets. So he would definitely make back what his original investment was, and he could very easily get it up to like 20 SOL. And then he was able to generate 20 SOL in revenue and sell his one NFT.
I just look at my giraffes as they're
So
like
that's
$10,000 a piece to me, minimum. Every single one that I have, regardless of whatever the trade is, I know like that's like the floor for me. Is each one of my giraffes are worth 10 grand with what's coming. So unless I can make 10 grand off of a giraffe on a raffle, it doesn't really even seem to make sense. So that's why I was asking like the giraffe seasons or the mugga giraffe or
well,
one of the other ones.
it could though. It could make sense because let's say you were able to make 15 grand on a raffle, or 15 Solana on a raffle. Well, the floor price is 7.2 Solana. Maybe you could go back and buy two. Maybe you could buy one you really wanted. Maybe one that you like has a 12 SOL floor, and you don't have 12 SOL right now. But what you do have is another giraffe that's not worth 12 SOL. It's worth 7.2 because it's just a floor giraffe. So you raffle that giraffe, you raise 12 Solana, and now you go buy the giraffe you want to buy.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, there you go. That's path. Maybe whatever it is. Now, are you running a risk? Sure, because people may not buy it, which is why I went in and did the first one. My investment in this giraffe was about 0.72. I've already made my investment back. So the marketing would have paid my investment back no matter what. So now I'm able to show proof. Does this work for giraffe or does it not work for giraffe? So far, I would say it does. It could completely sell out, but we've sold 56% of the tickets. We are the number one most popular NFT raffle on their platform right now. And we still have 6 days left. So I think this will sell out. I think we'll sell all 100% of those tickets, which will put 10 Solana in my pocket for something I paid 0.72 for. That's a win. That's business to me. Now, do we get exposure? Sure. Do we get marketing? Sure. Are people here looking at this and buying this that want a giraffe? Is somebody going to try to buy it and not win and say, damn it, I really need one? Yeah, I think it's going to create FOMO for people. They're going to want these. I think people are going to check out giraffe, maybe that have never checked it out.
It's a good way to build FOMO. Yeah, it is.
Which helps every single person who owns giraffe, because the more eyeballs we have on our product, the better it is. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. But nobody has to. It's just something you can do. You don't have to put up one of your giraffe up for a raffle, but if you want to, you can. And there's a lot of ways that it may work well for you. As far as NFTs that are there, I would just reach out to them and tell them you want to and send them your contracts and ask them if they can do that. I've dealt with that a lot with what we build because we're a smaller community. And I have to reach out and I have to build relationships and I have to tell them what I'm building and I have to ask for, will you do this? And then eventually they do it, and then we're there. Now Giraffe's big enough that we get listed on most things, regardless, because we're verified on Magic Eden and stuff like that, and that's a lot of the stuff that people check.
That's what they mentioned to me was getting. They mentioned getting verified on Magic Eden. I'm like, I don't even know what the heck. Like, am I verified on Magic Eden? Did it already happen, or do you have to hit a certain mark, or what's that process look like?
You have to talk to Magic Eden. I don't know the process. We've been verified kind of since day one. We migrated. We had done substantial amounts of volume on another blockchain, ETH. We migrated to Solana. I reached out to Magic Eden before we migrated and built a relationship with a couple of their team members. This was a couple years ago, so it was easier to build relationships then. They were excited to have a project moving from ETH to Solana. So I built that relationship, and we got Giraffe verified immediately. And then as we launched more collections, we got more and more of those verified. And now we have like our own Gary Club page. And like I have a direct group chat with the people at Magic Eden. We launched MAGA in partnership with them.
What year was that?
So the MAGA Giraffe was launched. We moved Giraffe over in 2020.
Oh, 23. Okay. I was going to say, I remember.
So to get a red check, you have to do a certain volume in SOL before they'll give you that red check and be verified. If you don't speak to them.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah, and I don't know all those. I don't know all those things. Like I know that OpenSea was that way on ETH, and I could never. We passed all the metrics, but they would just never give us the blue check.
Right.
And I kept applying, and they kept saying no.
Broken sea.
And this was back when, yeah, they had actually a warning came up that said, are you sure you want to buy this unverified collection?
I remember that.
And I'm like, guys, your limit is 100. Yeah, your limit's 100 ETH. We've done 350 ETH in volume. we're not a scam project anymore. Like, just give us the blue check, and they just wouldn't give it to
Broken
us.
sea.
Um,
Yeah.
So, but Magic Eden's just been like they've just been really good to us. I reached out and I'm like, hey, we've got a bunch of other little collections like the MAGA and the Dark MAGA. Can you verify all these? And they're like, yeah, just send me a list and we'll put them all on your collection page. And they did. So they've been great to us. So I would just try to build a relationship with their team. Start showing up, start saying good morning to them. Interns are your hack in Web3. So getting to the intern or the community manager. So like we built an amazing relationship with the former intern of Phantom, where Phantom would actually show up and say good morning to me every morning and all those things. That intern moved on just like 2 weeks ago. But finding building the relationship kind of with the social teams and stuff like that usually
That's your
helps.
hack. Yeah.
But also being here early, and you're still early now, but I've been here like 4 years earlier. So some of that you just end up hanging out with the right people and building enough connection because you're just at that phase of their journey and you're there, and then they get promotions because they're employees, and then you're able to use those relationships as you grow. So lots of opportunities here, honestly.
Super helpful. Thank you, brother.
Like my son was down here this weekend, and the Wizard of Soho, he's a pretty popular trader, and he follows like 400 and some people, and my son's trading stocks. And I told him, I said, you should follow him. He talks about the stock market and all this stuff. He looked him up and he's like, yeah, everybody I follow follows him. And he follows me, the Wizard of Soho, because I was just here early enough and built the relationship as he was growing and I was
Who
growing.
does my nephew need to follow? Jack's doing stocks now.
Braden loves it. He got into some kind of funded account and they fund him. It's the Wizard of Soho. So Wizard of Soho. I'll put it in the
Okay.
back chat or in our
Thanks,
little group
Gary. He was
DM.
moaning at the weekend that he's mostly red at the moment.
Yeah, Braden's 17 and he's making $200+ per day profit trading in the stock market right now as he said it
Amazing.
to me.
Jeez. Wow. Good job,
Yeah,
Braden.
yeah, yeah.
Damn.
So he's cooking right now, and he gets up and he literally gets up and he does his trading first thing in the morning. He trades for a couple hours, and then he takes him a little break, and then he journals and back tests and sees all that stuff, and then he puts it down and does it the next day.
Damn. Good job, kid. I like that. I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. He doesn't want to work, so
So
he's trading. He's
it's what
trying
I
to find a
told
new
my
path and
daughter.
not
It's
work.
what I told my daughter. I remember when she would when she was younger and she'd want to come to the job sites with me and so I'd never let her come. I was like, you're not going to be in construction. You think I'm giving you this company? You're never going to do this stuff. You're going to go to school. You're not going to work like me.
Yep,
You're out of your mind if you think I'm going to let you work like me. Like,
yep,
you know what I mean? Like even when we'd work on our house, she's like, I want to help you paint. I'm like, no, you're never picking a paintbrush up. Go upstairs and
yep,
go read your
yep.
books. I was always like that with her. And now she's, gonna go to Columbia. So good
Yep.
job for her.
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. She's never gonna have to know what a sore back feels like. Um
Yeah, my son wants multiple penthouses in multiple cities. He wants to have a his first car that he buys for himself. He's looking at like $150,000
I
BMW.
love that. Yeah,
He doesn't want to go to college. He wants to trade.
I
So
love
that's
that.
kind of his
Yeah,
God, I
philosophy.
love that.
Jack's informed us at the weekend he's got 20 days left of school and then he's out. Although he has
Oh
got to
wow.
do some kind of apprenticeship because he's 15. He'll be 16 in July, so it's like the youngest of his year.
Hmm.
But
Yep.
yeah, he wants to do an apprenticeship. Doesn't know what because he's got to do something. But he's thinking accounting at the moment because he wants to know what he needs to do with his money, and why he's just got a national insurance card that's going to be taxing him.
Love that.
Oh, and Jack, TC's nephew, he's an OG giraffe
Oh,
as well.
cool. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we have several that are under the age of 18 that own OG giraffe.
Yeah, I think Camille's do, don't they? Her kids too.
I do believe. I do believe, and maybe Brenda's grandchildren.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And I
Um,
know Dunk probably can't speak at the moment, but I think he's passed something on as well.
Yeah, I know he
yeah,
has. Yeah. He's told me that.
and my kids own, and I don't know. JJ, did you do anything for your kids? Did you get them OGs?
I don't
JJ may not be able to talk right now
Yeah.
either, but he may have done something for his as well. I don't remember.
But it just wasn't, the whole school of thought wasn't there when I was younger. Like as soon as I could leave and start working, I did. So I did it like after A levels, if that's what you call them over there. And I just started work, just suck it and see. I didn't want to go to uni. But I didn't have people around me. Social media wasn't out there to sort of show what was possible. And yeah, they're in quite a privileged position, I think, with all the information out there these days.
All I know is I say thank God there wasn't like the kind of social media out there when I was in my teens. Thank God. Thank God. I don't want pictures of what I was doing on the internet when I
I
was
know
like
that's right.
17, 18, 19, really up until about 24 actually. I don't want any memory of that to live on the internet. Please no. Um
And this raffle, I'll say really quickly, I'm not going to run another raffle after this. You guys can run them if you want to, but like my intention was to try it, see how it worked, see if our community showed up, take all the risk myself because I had less than a Solana in it. So take all the risk, meaning, if nobody bought a ticket, then and only one person bought it, then I had to give it away for 0.01
give
Sol.
it a shot. Yeah.
So I did everything to take the risk and to give you a path to see how it works. From there, it's up to you. If you want to participate, that's amazing. If you want to buy a ticket, that's great. Or if you decide to run your own raffle for whatever it is, whether you use Gary Coin or Solana or anything else in the world. Like somebody could go right now and launch a raffle for 1,000 Gary Coin or 10,000 Gary Coin or whatever you want. It's your choice. I just wanted to test the platform and see how it worked.
I
Let me ask you something, Gary. Go ahead, TC. Good.
Oh, it was just on that. I was just going to say, I did notice, like, even when you just get like one ticket, we keep appearing at the top of the table because it shows this person just bought this. So the giraffe keep appearing, which is helpful. So if anyone want to just chuck $1 in, and just keeps bumping us up to the top of the visibility at the moment. And obviously they're doing a lot of marketing at the moment, having just launched. So it's a good opportunity just to get some eyes on.
Well,
Yeah, it's why I did it. And then, for some of you that have a large quantity of giraffe and you want to find a way and a path to liquidity without necessarily hurting the floor, I think it's a great way to sell a giraffe. Once you build confidence that we can move the quantity of tickets you would need to move. But if you're looking and you're like, man, I really want to sell a giraffe for 10 Sol. I'd like to have 10 Solana, but I don't want to list it and do that. I just think this is a great alternative path to selling a giraffe if you're looking for liquidity. And then you're to me, it becomes a helpful situation. You've got a little bit of risk. You don't get a guarantee, but helpful side because somebody has a chance to win a giraffe and not have to pay full price.
right, and you can also, end up in the situation you're at too. I'm definitely kicking it around myself right now, actually. Doing something very similar to you. Because then you can actually get that liquidity you need and then like go buy a giraffe back. So and end up with 2-3 Sol extra and didn't even lose a giraffe. Let me ask you.
Yeah, I mean,
Let me,
it's like if you could sell a giraffe right now for 10 Sol and then go buy the floor because you don't care what it looks like. If you don't,
yeah.
like if you've found your forever giraffe and you have a trait, the one that King bought the other day, that blue background, the Carolina blue background trait with the golden grill, the dark one, everybody was looking for that one, right? Everybody was interested in that one. So he could list it potentially higher and then go back in and grab something else unless he wanted that trait. So it's just a game. You just have to figure out how you want to play it. But yeah, what do you got, JJ?
I posted like the account today in crypto. I posted that up in the jumbo. If you like scroll over, you'll see it. It's like 3 from the right. Um, it says UPEXI Nasdaq company raises 10 million to buy Solana. Um, this is totally news to me. Have you heard anything about this?
Yeah, there's a couple companies right now raising money to buy
Oh,
Solana.
okay. So are these
There's a company called Soul Strategies out of Canada that's raised. I think they're 100 million deep in buying Solana
are
right
we
now.
going to stay an American company or what's going to happen there?
What do you
I
mean?
mean, we'll still be based in America, right? Solana will still be an American. company, or is it going to be sold to a
Yeah, Joe.
foreign company?
No, Joe, they're buying this. They're buying the same salami
Oh,
tokens
oh,
you
you
can
mean
go buy.
buying Solana coin? Okay, I was like freaking out. Oh, I was like, what? Okay, they're buying Solana
No.
coin. That all right? I just read that wrong.
Yeah, that's the only thing they can buy. There's nothing else they can buy. There's no stock in
Well,
Solana.
that's what I was like. Wait, they're gonna sell for? All right, I just read that wrong. That was freaking me out when I read that. Okay, all right. Goldfish brain. Thank you, thank you. That was
I was like,
embarrassing.
where are we going with Solana
I was
coin?
like, what the
They're going to
fuck?
deport us to
For
Canada?
well, that's I was like 100 million. What's going on? Okay, I'm just an idiot. Never mind.
No, they're playing the
They're
same
being
game
Michael
that Michael
Saylor.
Saylor's
Okay,
playing with
yeah,
Bitcoin.
yeah. They're being
Exactly.
Michael
They're doing it
Saylor.
on
Okay,
Solana,
okay. That's
which,
great. That's great for
look,
us.
well, it is, and I mean, it's great, but I don't know that it's the smartest business decision to take considerable capital and put it into an asset that has an
An
unlimited
unlimited, right?
supply.
Yeah, it's probably for them. It's probably not the smartest move, but for us, it's good.
Now, yeah, exactly. Now, for me, Pump Fund has made over $500 million, and they've liquidated a lot of that into US dollars. I don't plan on liquidating all of my Solana. I want to be a steward of Solana. So I would like to
Correct.
get to the point where I had 1,000,000 Solana.
Yeah, sure.
And I stake them and I'm earning and I'm, I would look, I mean, I don't mind being flashy. If I go to a break point, I don't want to step on stage as the company who sold $500 million worth of Solana in the last year. I want to step on stage being the company that's holding $250 million worth of
Of
Solana.
course. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it puts me in a better
Legend
position.
status.
Yeah, exactly right. So Gary Club's gonna make a shit like I was talking. I'm not exaggerating. There's realistic estimations that we could break $100 million in revenue this year.
I believe that. I easily believe that. Yeah. Yeah.
Realistic estimations that we could break $1 billion in revenue by 2027.
Totally believe it. Totally believe those forecasts. Absolutely.
So those are things that I have to think about today. Like, what are we going to do with all the Solana? What's our plan? My plan is to let Stacker Agent manage it, and manage what we do. Now, we're not going to go trade it on block zero shitters.
Right.
We're
Right.
going to right. We'll trade it maybe against USDC, maybe against the Sol Bitcoin arbitrage. My plan is also to sell some of it and for Gary Club to acquire a substantial amount of Bitcoin.
I
Right.
like that. I like
So
that a lot. Yeah.
I think that's smart. And we'll acquire Bitcoin on Solana with some of the Solana Bitcoin versions that are wrapped Bitcoin, and then we'll acquire actual Bitcoin because I think that puts Gary Club in a really nice position. Imagine if over the next 2 or 3 years we're able to acquire a couple hundred Bitcoin.
Oh my God, that
Where
that
would
would
that
put.
put us?
We'd be set up so sweet, man. We'd be set up so sweet.
Right, and that's smart for Gary Club, not to sell Gary Coin to go get Bitcoin,
No, but
but to take some of our
yep.
Solana and sell some of our Solana to go get
Well,
Bitcoin.
one thing that concerns me. So speaking on that, I'll tell you a concern I have. We're gonna go build these. You know, I have this idea in my head that I'm, obviously going to be a big part of a build of a Gary Club at some point in the future for obvious reasons. And one thing that's been a concern of mine has been, well, what are we going to do? We're going to sell a bunch of Gary coin to fund that. I don't know if we really want to do that. To me, it seems like it would be better to take some of our soul, buy Bitcoin, then a year, 2 years down the road, whenever the DAO says, hey, we're ready to do our first build, we cash in a couple Bitcoin rather than selling Gary coin. And
Well, it really depends on how we play that out because there's a couple of paths you can take when you're launching a business like that.
okay,
Number one, you can just build the business, and you build it, and you own it, and it's yours, and you do what you want to with it. You build a business around it. You self-fund it, or you go take on debt, or whatever that looks
right,
like. The second path is you could license it, and you could do a licensing deal with someone. Like that's what Margaritaville did.
yep,
So all the Margaritaville resorts are all licensing deals. They just get a royalty check. Michael Jordan, I don't know if you know this, but Michael Jordan gets 5% of every one of the Jordan brand items that's sold.
I didn't know it was 5%, but I figured there was something worked out like that. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they did $7 billion in revenue last year.
Jeez.
He got $350 million in revenue.
Didn't he have the most expensive divorce ever?
Probably
Yeah.
so.
I think he did. Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways we can play that depending on where we want to go.
Got it.
Our intention is to sell some Gary coin, but not to the market, but to private investors with a lockup.
Ah, okay. That makes more sense to me.
So
Okay.
the DAO has allocated 1.5 million Gary coin.
Okay.
And let's say that our budget to build out our first club is going to be $25 million. Right? We could say, well, in order to take that 1.5 million Gary coin and get $25 million, we can figure out how much money it needs to be. It's math, right?
Yeah.
1.5, let's see, let me do math. Times probably $15.
I was going to say
Yeah,
17 or
$15
something.
gives us
Yeah.
22.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, $15 gives us $22.5 million.
There you go. Okay.
Well, if Gary coins $20, we can go sell Gary coin at $15 in quantity to investors with a lockup period of time. And now we've been able to raise the money and keep growing,
I got you.
knowing where we're headed and all those things.
And obviously I could be one of those investors. People in the club could be one of those investors buying a portion of that.
Yeah, and it would have to be at a large quantity.
Right.
Because we wouldn't
We don't
want
want
someone to come in and say, well, I can afford to buy 12
Yeah,
Gary coin.
exactly. Right.
You
Right.
know, we would just set up some quantity packs and run them and lock
Right.
them.
Right.
And that's an opportunity. Now, we might not need to do that. If we hit a home run with Stacker Agent and we've brought in $500 million over the last year, for tax purposes, I will be looking for a place to spend
Exactly. Right. Right.
that money. that's just a business expense then.
Right.
And it's like, oh, we have $500 million worth of revenue. We could probably afford to drop $50 million and build out a corporate headquarters and a first Gary Club. Well, why would you do that? Because it's real estate, and if shit goes south, we own the real
And
estate.
we have the land. Yeah.
Right. We have the land. We have everything about it. We could afford to do that at that point in time. We could afford to, go diversify and grab a bunch of Bitcoin at that point.
Well, and there's
Not just sell all the
a lot
silver.
of worse decisions you could make than, doing a really nice build out in Austin right now. It's probably one of the best places you can
100%.
build. So, yeah.
100%. You're 100% right. Or maybe we look at it and say, look, we're not comfortable enough to do that, but what we are comfortable enough to do is take, 10 million and go and grab the right floor of the right building and upfit it
Sure.
and fund the lease for the next 5 years to make sure this is what we want to do long
Sure.
term.
Sure.
And build local community and make sure so we can build, because we're not a big enough community to build a corporate headquarters or a Gary Club here in Austin and make it
Well,
thrive.
not yet. No. Sure.
We have to build local community to make that come to
Right.
life.
Right.
And the only way you build local community is you have to have a home for the local community to start gathering.
Yep.
And they start gathering and you start to build that local community, and then you can, just as we're here today brainstorming what Stacker Agent's going to do, the community here in Austin would brainstorm what a lot of the Gary Club is going to do, because they will be the people in and out of it on a regular basis. They will be the people that's there regularly. And then obviously you or anyone else in our community that plans on doing that too. Not everyone will care.
Right.
Some people will.
Right. Okay.
But lots and lots and lots of ideas around that. It also depends on who's in the community by then.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So,
That's a very good point. Right. We could have a
like,
totally different composition at that point.
yeah, like somebody that owns like maybe 100 giraffe, maybe 50 giraffe, something like that. They do all the big virtual events for Tony Robbins. So they're the event company that runs those events. His name's Blue. And Blue runs these big production studios, and he wants to put a production studio in Gary Club in Austin. And if he's still in the community and there, well, we would have the ability to live stream to hundreds of thousands of people with multiple camera angles and seeing everybody on camera and all this stuff right inside of Gary Club. And I think that would be amazing.
Yep.
it would be it would give us an insane platform.
Massive.
We would have our own professional level broadcast studio in our building, in our club.
Yep.
The same one that Tony Robbins spends $100,000 to rent to run his live events. We'll have it, and it will be ours. And he's a Giraffe, and if he's still a Giraffe, and we're ready to build it, and we've got the budget to do it, he already told me the budget for that's about $1 million to build that out.
Okay.
And he wants to partner to bring that to life because he could use a studio in Austin. And if we've got a studio, well, now he's bringing the Tony Robbins of the world into Gary Club to broadcast live from Gary Club.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
it would be a Tony Robbins event being broadcast live from Gary Club, which gives us branding just the same way as if you go run an event at whatever in the hell it used to be the crypto.com stadium. I don't know what it's now in LA.
Staples Center. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, Staples Center, right? Any event at Staples Center is branded Staples Center.
Right.
Right. It's at the Staples Center. So it's not that Staples gets an ad in every TV commercial, or it's not that they get to come out on stage at every event, but the branding is there.
Right. And by the
And
way, to this day, no one calls it crypto. Everyone calls it Staples Center still. It's just like it's just part of
yeah.
LA. It's Staples Center.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as people are running events in Gary Club, then that's what that would
Exactly. Yep.
be. We're broadcasting live today from Gary Club in Austin, Texas.
Right. Right.
And that gives us exposure to millions of people throughout the globe with all kinds of
Well,
different
and
types
that
of
kind of person too, which is a
Yeah,
good,
exactly.
which that's the right kind. That's actually the exact kind of person we want to be, speaking to and having see us. That like abundant mindset person.
And it'll all run on Gary Coin.
Yep.
The entire club would run on Gary Coin. Now we'll make it easy for them. We'll give them. I mean, we can build our own little tech. We'll build our own little wallets if we need to, like tap card wallets, like your credit card.
Well, I feel like
Or
Visa,
NFC built into your phone.
well, like even like Visa and MasterCard now are making it super easier at least for crypto companies to get on their network now. So it's not the hardest thing in the world. It's not 2016 anymore, where it's like
It's easy enough where people have used PayPal or Venmo,
right.
and we've already built a wallet that serves that purpose.
Oh,
Like we built,
okay.
this was probably 2.5 years ago, Joe. We had the ability to send Gary Coin across Twitter.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I could just say, hey, social connector, send Joe 100 Gary Coin, and it would end up in your wallet. And just tag you on Twitter, and it would
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I've heard you.
We've already built all this technology.
So we have that already. Okay.
So all I would have to do is have an internal point of sale system that tallies your bill, and then at the end of your bill say, well, your bill is 584 Gary Coin. Scan the QR code and hit the send button.
Yep.
Well, that's really easy. Yep. You paid your bill. Well, how do I get 584 Gary Coin? Well, we'll figure that out. There's a lot of ways that we can do that. We can take cash for that.
Yep.
You can do any kind of over-the-counter transactions. We can have literally a cash desk setting there, a vault with Gary Coin and cash.
I mean,
setting inside of Gary Club. But I think by the time that comes around, Wells Fargo and Bank of America is going to have USDC built into their
for sure.
ecosystem.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
So I think that none of that's I think all that's a moot point, because we'll just say, yeah, you need to take your USDC and convert it into Gary Coin and pay.
They're already working on that stuff. So like you said, yeah, that's just it's a
course.
total moot point. Yeah.
But that's what we're building. And that's why we're building.
Boy, I love it. This future looks very good. I like it.
I don't know anyone else building like
No,
this.
no one is. No one is. There's nothing.
That's building on top of their tokens.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest difference with us is I didn't sell any of our tokens to VCs.
Thank God.
There's no VCs that own our tokens. There's none of that.
I don't think people appreciate that enough, Gary, because I know how tempting that's, again, just as a business owner, I know how tempting it is to take the quick money. I know, especially when you start building something and you go like your company, okay, I'm worth $1 million now. Oh, great, I'm worth 10 million now. And like when you start to see that, it becomes, and you start getting the offers, fuck, I still get the text messages on my phone, where it's like,
Yeah.
hey, do you want to take this, $1 million line of credit? It gets very tempting, very, very tempting. And so the fact you've never done that is, kudos to you, because it's easy to say, Yeah, I could use that 2 million in my account right now. Sure. And then have
Yeah.
to cede a little bit of authority, but I still get to ultimately make the decision. But then it chips away, and it
Yep.
chips away, and next thing some fucking corporate asshole is in charge, and it's like, and then you're pushed out, so it's like, and there's some private equity guy in charge, and it just gets
Yep.
destroyed. So,
And you get
yep.
sold, and you get sold for pennies on
And
the
then you're
dollar because they don't care, and
right.
then your direction has to change
Yep. Exactly.
because you don't have control, and that's just not what I want.
Right.
So it's just not, like, if you want to get access, if you want to get exposure to what we're building, go buy the coin.
That's it.
If you want to get exposure to what we're building, go buy the giraffe. And there will be a point where the giraffe and the coin will greatly decouple.
Right. It's gonna happen. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
People will treat the coin like they treat stock. People will treat the giraffe like they treat their membership.
Right.
We are building a mechanic in the middle that gives a revenue share to people who hold both.
It'll be like like a membership, but that's also like 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 a Van Gogh. It'll be like a membership
Yeah, I mean
that's
it's a status
yeah, right.
symbol,
It'll be a status thing. Yeah, totally.
but there's this big mechanic in the middle that blends it into a way to grab a share of the revenue that the protocol
Right,
delivers,
right.
which is the part that's going to be really attracting to kind of both people. You won't know that until you get ingrained in what we're building, or until you just happen to stack up a bunch of Gary coin and grab a giraffe, and then you start getting airdrops every day, and you come and ask somebody why you get free Gary coin every day, and then you figure it out.
Yeah, right.
There'll be a lot of people who just stumble into it. It's like, whoa, where's this stuff coming from? Just like I'm sure a lot of people bought those like IMG, like that infinite money glitch token, and had no clue they were going to get rewards,
Right.
and then just kept getting free Solana, and they're like, oh, well, that's fun.
Well, there's some people who already have Giraffe where that's going to happen. Like again,
Yeah.
and they're just going to be like, "Wait, what the hell's going? Why is my wallet? Hold on a second. What's going on here?
Why am I getting
Yeah.
more Gary
Why?
coin?
Why did I just get 1,000 more Gary yesterday? Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yep.
And then they're going to figure it out, and then they'll make their decisions. They'll go buy more, or somebody else will figure it out and go buy theirs off of them, and when they go to sell, there'll be liquidity there.
That's the one thing I wish. I wish there was a way to go on the blockchain and communicate with people. Like, oh, I see you have this in your wallet. Are you interested in selling it? There's really no way to do that yet. There's sort of a way to
Um,
do it with OpenSea and stuff, but it's not like the easiest, most straightforward way.
no, it's not. It's why if you ever see a trait that you like or an NFT you like, you should buy it, because then it's yours.
Right. Right.
And it's whatever you want to do with it. Like, I don't care if you have a giraffe because it reminds you of something. It doesn't really matter to me. You buy it for whatever reason you want it. And I think that's what a lot of people miss, is they see a giraffe that they like and they just think, I'll get it later. But if somebody else buys it, then
No,
it's
you're
gone
not. Yeah,
forever.
exactly. Yeah. No, you're not.
Like, nobody will ever get my giraffe.
Right. Oh, yeah. Never.
It'll never come out of my
Could you
wallet. I told
imagine?
everybody in our community. No, but TC, I told everybody in my community far after I'm gone off the earth, I think my giraffe will be generating value for the community. And that's just Stacker Agent's what it's going to be. And the best thing about Stacker Agent is it will be valuable as long as Solana exists, because as long as Solana exists, there will be tokens on Solana,
Right.
and Stacker Agent trades tokens.
Right. Well, and
So
by
it doesn't
that
matter what.
time, dude, I mean, we may be on a chain that doesn't even exist yet, you know?
Yeah, if Solana dies, right, that's okay,
Sure.
right? If Solana dies, what do?
Just move.
We come up. We already did this once. We moved from Solana, or from ETH to Solana, and we say, if you own a Solana Giraffe, you get a new mint on this new blockchain, and it's going to cost you X Gary to mint it. And that's how we move. That's what we moved before.
Pivot.
We charged one. we charged 100 Gary coin if you would like to move from Ethereum to Solana, and we covered the gas and all the fees and all the tech and everything like that. It was 100 Gary coin, and every single giraffe paid it. Right? Every single giraffe paid it, and that's what we would do again.
Speaking of
And
which,
if you're out of the loop or you're not engaged or you take a sabbatical or whatever, you might miss out. We gave a 90-day window. So we gave you 90 days to make your decision. And then if you didn't decide to move with us, that's okay. You still had your giraffe and the art, but you didn't have the utility anymore. But the art still exists, the giraffe still exists. You just don't get the utility, whatever we'll build, because we're going to build utility on Solana, not on
yeah,
Ethereum.
then you end up like
So
General and you have a ETH giraffe. Speaking,
you still have the art,
yeah,
and
you
it's
have
still
the art.
unique, and it's
Yeah.
still, yep, it's still a giraffe. And maybe those ETH giraffe, because they're rare, end up being very valuable
Well,
one
that's
day.
what I've been saying. Speaking of Jordans, I've always been equating them to the Jordans that had the misprints that were worth a lot of money. It'll be like that, I think. Where
Yeah, or somebody will say like that's part of the history, and I want to own one of the, like, out of the 7,000 people that can own a Solana giraffe, there's only 2,200.
question for you is ETH just going to be dead at this point? Do you think that?
No, it's not. It's gonna
You
evolve.
think so? Okay.
It'll be a settlement chain,
Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
but I don't think it's gonna die. I don't think we're gonna see a lot of mass price appreciation.
So you think it's probably
But
kind of
I don't.
settled where it's at then? You think like this is probably about it?
Yeah, I think it could. I think we could see ETH under $1,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got a few new
The-
speakers, Joe. I don't know if they've got a question,
Oh,
or
I know.
Gary.
They can speak up.
I know, but it's hard sometimes. I find it quite hard.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes. I don't want to cut in, but I have a question.
Hop on in here, Zazzy.
I have a question for Gary. I know this is like somewhere down the road. Are you thinking about doing the Gary Club open to other communities for them to do events? Because if you find a land in an opportunity zone, anybody, this is your like your stack race to build whatever you want to build. Anybody that would invest their money in an opportunity zone fund can, after 10 years, can take their profit out with no taxes. I just want you to check that. That's all.
yeah, most definitely. I was involved in a business that was in an opportunity zone in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, for a while. So definitely familiar about that. I'm not sure. I think we just have to get a little further down the road. We want to build it in Austin, our very first corporate headquarters. I've got a couple of ideas of what I might want to do with it after that, but I've got to build it here first. Um, I've got a couple of versions of what I could build it for here.
I think,
You know,
sorry, the mapping on opportunity zone is in every city. You just have to pull it up in the map, and it's US
right,
based.
right. But there's some areas, depending on what I build, that I wouldn't want to build
We
in.
normally call opportunity zones the hood.
Yeah, and they're not all that way, and there are definitely opportunity zones that I could build in, but if we decide to go down a path of building some luxury apartments on some of the upper floors, or we decide to go down the path of putting a luxury hotel on some of the middle floors, then it wouldn't make a lot of sense for us to we like the location would really matter, and it would be better for us to build the location where we needed it, rather than not. We also could partner with someone else. There's a lot of developers that would look and say, look, we will sell you because we know that you're going to bring people in that'll buy the apartments or buy the condos and live in the apartments and all this stuff. So we'll sell you, 3 floors of this new building that's being built, and Gary Club can sit in the middle. And, that's just, we're part of a bigger complex of a building.
Right.
So I think we just have to get to that point where we have the confidence that the funding is there to have those conversations.
And that's like,
And as we get closer to that, we'll start to explore those options as a
it
community.
gets a little in the weeds with that stuff. I'm very, very familiar with hub zones and opportunity zones and all that, but you can we have people in this community right here already that would qualify us for like disabled veteran, or women owned. You have a wife, right? Women owned business. I mean, there's all kinds of things where you can actually get much better incentives than any kind of hub zone incentive or opportunity zone incentive. So, and that's
Yeah,
so
and if
getting
we
into
run
the
it as a private
weeds.
club,
Yeah.
then that's all on
Or
us.
exactly. Yeah.
There's so many
So many
interesting
different.
things
Yeah.
we can do as a private club,
Right.
and having a private membership to only Gary coin holders, for
Right.
example.
Right.
There's just so many opportunities to explore. But Zazie, I think that it makes sense to definitely explore that when we get closer to that moment and we figure out what we're building. And we may not build the same thing in every city. So we may build in Austin, and then we may decide we want to go build somewhere else, and we may find a part of the city that we believe in that's up and coming, that may be an opportunity zone, but we're willing to make the investment there because of something else, some reason, or whatever it is.
Arts district in LA. That's becoming the
Yeah,
cool spot, which is definitely like an opportunity zone. But it's like what happened to Brooklyn 15 years ago, right? Where it became the like hipster area. And that's,
Yep.
like right now it still looks crazy, but mark my words, in 10 years it'll be a bunch of people out walking their little chihuahuas and, you know, selling avocado toast and, the whole thing.
Yeah,
Wait,
and
Chihuahuas get walked
Yeah.
in LA?
Trust me, you'd be surprised. They don't actually walk, they get pushed in strollers actually, but yeah.
but yeah, and we'll just
Speaking
have to see
speak
what that looks like then. Yeah, go for
real
it,
quick.
JJ.
Real quick. Speaking of dogs being strollered in, I went to go visit. I'm just getting home now from visiting Bearded Bongman and his one of his stores here in Philly. And as we were in
Were you
his
able to drive home?
yeah,
I
no,
hope you
yeah,
Ubered.
we yeah, no, we kept it PG because I had to make it to Carline, and I just made it to Carline, so we had to keep it PG. But he did give me a gift that I'm interested in exploring when I get home here in a couple minutes. But all that to say, he had a customer walk in. She looked like Barbie, so like bunch of plastic surgery, but she was definitely pushing her pug in a stroller, and I just thought I
Exactly.
thought it was hilarious as fuck. So yeah. But yeah, just to that point, I think it's super important, for us to, look into these local meetups, build up the local community, for if there's a chance that a Gary club comes near you, but ultimately just to build the connections, man. Like, I'm gonna be visiting Peter Bongman again next Wednesday, and just talking about, what can we do, where can we meet up locally, Giraffe, and then the broader Web3 crypto community, just to start having like those local vibes. I think that shit hits different, and I'm super excited to have my hand on it, in the Philly area, and then also looking to do the same thing at NYC. Like, I'll probably be going back to New York City on like the weekend of May 3rd, and already looking to like see which Giraffe, like Laser and King, and a couple others like who I may be able to stop by and just put a face and a handshake to the name and to the PFP, and really start those bonds and those developments, because that's where the magic is at. Like, that's where it becomes a little bit more tangible, is when the community has like that local element of regularly meeting up.
By the way, speaking of Bearded Bong Man, I put up, guys, everyone, it's the very like first post you'll see, the first pin you'll see without scrolling over. Right now, it's the first one to his space. I believe it is tomorrow. Yeah, the 24th at 6 p.m. my time and 9 p.m. if you're on the East Coast. So hit the reminder. I'll be there to get a contact high or whatever's going to happen through the phone. And yeah, hope to see everyone there. So I hope you guys sign up.
Yeah,
Joe,
their space has been real fun. I've been to the last couple ones on Sunday, just real fun. But go ahead, Gary.
yeah, no, they have been fun. I agree. And then I pinned up as well. Jupiter's doing this thing that they're going to shout out a bunch of projects, and they're going to do some art bounties and get the artists that Drip to design art in order to get coins.
Oh, cool.
And they reached out and asked if we were willing to participate, and I said sure. So I pinned this up. It's at the top. You can see it. Any Gary that's donated to the wallet. Let me just see how much is donated here. Let me find the wallet. You can read the post. You can read all about it. What I said that I would do to make it community driven, because that's the best way it can be, is any Gary that's donated to the wallet, the community will match the amount that's donated. So if Gary coin, if there's like right now, there's how much? Let me see. Hold on. There's 1,110 Gary coin donated, which is $289. So if that's where we end up, then the community will donate another 1,110 Gary coin. I
Oh,
personally
let's
donated
fucking
500
go.
Gary coin. So you donate whatever you feel that's appropriate for you. If it's 0, that's fine. If it's 1 Gary coin, if it's 10, if it's 50, post it if you feel comfortable to post it publicly. Like Maui Nancy's posted, and I think Larry posted, and Bearded Bongman posted. So a lot of people posted. You don't have to. You can donate in silent. We will look at that number at the end and we'll match it and send that number in again. The bigger the bounty, the more art, the more creativity we'll get. It's all going to be branded around Gary Coin. So it's just creating culture and art around the brand,
Awesome.
getting
That's
people talking about it and stuff like that. So,
that's fire. Can I ask a quick
you know,
question? I
yeah,
thought
go for
that
it.
I thought they said that the deadline was the 21st. Was there an extension?
Yeah, so I don't know how to pronounce the name, but the 9-year-old intern, MEI, extended it until the 27th. So we
9-year-old
still have
intern.
4 days left.
Fire.
Yeah, that's his name at the top. It says that in the pin post, it says it was extended to the 27th. They tried to do it over Easter weekend. I don't think they realized it was Easter. And like, I didn't even check the Gary Coin account over the weekend. I was just offline and made sure my account was covered, but I didn't go check the DMs on Gary Coin. And they'd sent a DM over to Gary Coin and tried to do it there. But there's a bunch of other communities participating. We're definitely participating. I think it's a good idea. I'd like to get, I'd love to see us get, maybe $500 in there and I match that to 1,000 or something like that. Um, or we get 1,000 in there and we match 2,000 or whatever it is. I thought that would be the best way to let the community see how much the community wanted to put in, and then we would just match it on top.
Yeah, I'll send in at least 100 once I get set up back at home. I'm just getting in now, getting the boys some snack arroz con leche, some rice pudding, done. But yeah, I'm good for at least 100. I'm gonna take a look at my wallets, maybe a little bit more. But let's fucking go.
Yeah, and that's, there's no expectation, there's no obligation. But if, some of you like to do giveaways, some of you like to grab exposure for the project, some of you like to put your coin to use. And if that's you, then I think that's a really good idea to put your coin to use and a really good way
Stop
to
it.
put your coin to use. That would create a big bounty and maybe make some more people create art, which would create a more culture around Gary Coin.
Nice. I love that. I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
thanks for sharing, guys.
Um,
That's all.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then Joe, if you just kind of like maybe grab that post because it's still good for 4 more days. So maybe like over the next couple of days when you're in here, just remind people.
yep, I'm going to. I'm actually bookmarking it right now.
Yeah, it's just, to me, it's one of those kind of good things to, maybe you send 5 Gary coin in and it's like $1 to you, but it just keeps adding up and adding up and adding up.
I'm
Totally.
gonna put it in my
Totally.
call to action part in my threads for the next couple of days as well. Then now that you say that.
Yeah, and I'll talk about it like in my morning stream and stuff like that tomorrow morning. But just to put it out there, and like, it's good. It's gonna help artists on Solana get Gary Coin in their wallet. It's going to get Jupiter talking about Gary Coin. They'll retweet it. They'll share it. It's going to give us all some cool art to share and talk about, and it's fun all across the board. I think so anyway.
Love it. Well, I am going to need to close it down and get back to work here on my little thing. Danny or Zazzy, anyone else wants to throw anything in? I'm here for a minute.
I just want to chime in on what JJ mentioned earlier about meetups and all that. I'm part of Pizza DAO that does an annual meetup on in May, and that's a good thing if we can do the same thing on anniversary day of Gary. Yeah, and just promote, locally. anyway.
Where is that?
No, you can
So
create one in your own city. That's what.
yeah, Pizza Dow. The last one I heard about it, they're doing one in Atlanta. Um, Day Change is part of it, and you can do it in your city if you want to. You can take the initiative and do it and launch it yourself. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
We can do a zoo meetup for the giraffe and make it different. Something.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Our next year will come up in March, so we just got there for Gary Coin. It's March 4th, so I think that would be something that we could definitely start to plan. There's also Maui Nancy for those that want to, or those that want to go in your local area. There's World Giraffe Day, which is in June, and for the last couple years, Maui Nancy's gone to a place in Colorado Springs and celebrated World Giraffe Day and helped them out on that day. So that's another good day to do something local in your community if you've got a zoo or something around your area that has giraffe to go, and if they're having a World Giraffe Day celebration to take some people and go do that, I think is a great idea.
Yep. Yep. That's on June 21st in Colorado
Yeah.
Springs.
Yep, and Maui Nancy, like if you want to go to Colorado Springs, you'll get to go hang out with her, and I think Christian was going to try to get there, and it's open to anybody that wants to go. I don't plan trips then because I see my kids a good bit in the summer. But other
Gotcha.
than that, find your time to go to World Giraffe Day or do something in your local. If you live in a different part of the world, go to your local zoo and celebrate World Giraffe Day with them. Or if you happen to be where there's giraffes, like Dallas, that's in our community, he'll post pictures or videos because he lives where there's giraffe. So he'll give us like videos of live giraffe on his way to work. And there's been a couple other people in our community that have been able to do that on their way to work. They'll see giraffe in the morning in the middle of the fields and send us videos. I think those things are really cool. But I'll let you go, Joe. I know you've got you want to go get your little thing worked on, which I appreciate because I do that too.
I need to get
Um,
my agent going here. And you know what? It's just I was saying it before you got in here, man. It's like just brought a whole new level of appreciation on my end for what you guys are building because it's wow. Yeah.
it's a lot of work. It really
It's
is.
a so much work. Yeah, and what I'm doing is like, it's not going to be trading on a blockchain. It's
Right.
it's a little chat thing for whiskey. And yeah, so it's just like, holy shit, this is totally
And
opening
Joe,
my eyes.
I sent you a video on how to
I
open up spaces
I
inside
saw
of
that.
Gary Channel.
Yes, I saw that.
So
Thank
that
you.
should give you a little bit of guidance on that.
Yeah, yeah.
All
Thanks.
right. Have a good day, Joe. I appreciate you all. I'll see you all later. Don't forget, go buy raffle tickets. There's 60% claimed. There's only 400 tickets left. As soon as those 400 are gone, that raffle will be drawed. If that happens today, then somebody will win a giraffe today.
Looks good. Right on.
The alpha is buy all 400.
Yeah, that is the alpha move. That is the alpha move. Right on, Gary. Thanks for popping by. Everybody, as usual, thank you for coming by, spending the day with us. I appreciate you guys all so much. I love you all. I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. All right, everybody. Take care.